In Watching Your Wallet, after last week's historic presidential election, America is preparing for Trump 2.0, and we can expect quite a few changes in the nation's economic policy. And some of those changes could affect your retirement plan. So here to share some things to keep in mind going forward is Colin Evans of the Evans Financial Group. So thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I look forward to it.
Let's talk about Social Security, where we're going from here.
You know, and that's because it's such a hot button, and now we're kind of seeing it thrown out here just a little bit, like we might not have taxes on it. That's a possibility, as we've seen the overtime, the taxes on tips. So that kind of gets, I would say Americans' bloods, flowing in a very, very positive way. And, one of the big things about Social Security is, it can change, and the understanding that those policies can change, because originally Social Security, and when it was enacted by Roosevelt, was not supposed to be taxed at all. Well, in 1983, Ronald Reagan signed over the first tax law that went into effect that up to 50% of Social Security could be taxed. Then again in 1993, Bill Clinton signed off on the same thing, that up to 85% can be taxed. So anytime that we've got presidents coming into play, there's always that possibility of having, a potential change in what you're doing. And the biggest thing that we want people to understand about Social Security, while that is a design to be a part of retirement, it's not supposed to be your sole source. So this is kind of where it leads us into our next one. It's like we want to make sure that we've got other sources and what we kind of call other pockets of money when we walk into the retirement time.
So let's talk about the other pockets. What do we have tucked away in there, Colin?
One of the things we want to encourage people to do is we think outside of Social Security, one of the first ones outside of Social Security, putting money into a savings account, let's see what your employer has. Are we looking at, do you have a 401k? Is that an option there? Because if we got a 401k and maybe some employer match, that's one of the places we want people to start, because that gives us another pocket of money. If we don't have a 401k, let's look at some other assets or some other type of avenues or vehicles that we can look at, like your IRAs, your Roth IRAs. You can go visit with a financial professional that can set those up for you. Even some of those can be done simply online or at a local bank, but it just gives you different avenues that you can start putting money away and looking at that, so you're not reliant solely on Social Security.
Okay, now what if we're a little bit behind? Let's talk about catch-up contributions.
So fortunately, Uncle Sam allows us, when you turn 50, they put in place catch-up contributions. Typically, and we've seen it kind of ratchet up over the years, when your IRA contributions were $5,000, then they became $6,000, now they became $7,000. Well, when you turn 50, we have something called catch-up contributions, which allow an additional $1,000 to be put back for you. So this kind of gives you the opportunity, as you're kind of heading into that retirement horizon, as it's starting to get closer and closer, you're able to fund a little bit more money into these. And this is where you have the opportunity for, as Einstein said, the eighth wonder of the world being the magic of compound interest. And really what he's meaning by that is just really understanding the fact that people that understand interest earn it. People that don't understand interest pay it. So it's kind of different ways that we want to look at things, and just really kind of hammer home. It's like, let's really pay attention to some of the things that are really capable, that are out there.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up quickly, we want to remind everybody it's important to be flexible.
It is. It's a good one. It's just because, we were really all kind of, you could say, tension that was going on, because we don't know what's going on economically with, the changing of the guards. We've seen, Trump was in office, then Biden came in, and now we've got Trump coming back in office, as they're kind of bantering back and forth on policies and what they could do and what they can get rid of. And then this is the opportunity of, you really do have to be flexible, and to be able to go, hey, if I'm worried about this, or I need to make a change, reach out to your financial professional and say, hey, do we need to make any little shifts or any position changes of what could be coming to fruition with anything that President Trump might want to be putting into play, or what are some key things that we need to look out for. And it's the same that we worked out when we say with being flexible is, we had to deal with being flexible when we were in COVID. We had to deal a little bit of being flexible now that we saw interest rates go through the roof. That's the kind of flexibility that is needed, that we're able to pivot and just shift and make slight changes and look forward and go from there.
Great advice, Colin. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us again.
All right, guys, lots of great information, and we appreciate your time, Colin.
Thank you.